Earlier this year marked the one-year anniversary of the murder of Army Specialist Vanessa Guillen. Her body was found in April of 2020 at Fort Hood in Killeen. A 20-year-old soldier from Houston was murdered by another soldier who later took his own life as police were about to make an arrest. Her brutal murder made national headlines and sparked a Me Too movement in the military. At least 14 Army officers and soldiers were fired or suspended at Fort Hood following an investigation into Guillen's murder. ABC News anchor John Quinones, who's been following Vanessa's murder since the story first broke, joins us live now. John, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, John Paul. You know, in all my years as a reporter, this is one of the most baffling, heartbreaking stories that I've ever had to cover. Vanessa Guillen, a young woman serving the country she so loved, brutally murdered on what should have been one of the safest places on the planet, a military base at Fort Hood. More than a year after her tragic death, Vanessa's family and her fiancé are still asking what really happened to Vanessa. And tonight, for the first time, you will hear from that fiancé. You will also hear from two of her friends, fellow soldiers, in whom they say Vanessa confided about the sexual harassment that she was suffering and enduring before her death. You will hear new details about her killer, Specialist Aaron Robinson. Why wasn't he ever arrested? How did he manage to escape from this militarized base and get a gun and then die by suicide? I'll have some tough questions for the Army itself. We sit down with a major general who helped lead a new investigation into the Vanessa Guillen case. How does he explain all the mistakes and the blunders that the Guillen family says led to what they call a botched investigation?
And John, this, as we mentioned, this story captured everyone's attention nationwide, but here in Texas, it hit close to home because she was a Houston native. I'm a Houston native. Fort Hood is a quick road trip from us. You know, there are neighbors. How could something like this happen? And what have you been able to discover in your time, reporting on this?
You know, the family is incredibly upset. What we have discovered is that this new civilian investigative report that came out that the Army commissioned and that an independent review panel worked on, they did discover that Vanessa was indeed sexually harassed by one of her superiors, although they say it wasn't the man who killed her. Sadly, and perhaps most importantly, they have not found a motive. They haven't determined why Vanessa was killed. That civilian panel was created to look at the command culture at Fort Hood base, and they discovered that a good number of mistakes were made. They admit to that, committed by investigators early in the investigation. In response, the review board has come up with 70 recommendations, and half of them have already been put in place. Among the most important, a new policy for missing soldiers so that they're not automatically listed as AWOL. The Army will also strengthen its program for reporting sexual assault and sexual harassment. And from now on, a civilian appointee will be in charge of the Army's CID. That's the Criminal Investigative Command. It will no longer be overseen by a military head.
And we know you've been in contact with Vanessa's family since her murder, and that also includes Vanessa's fiancé. How is he, and what does he want the world to know about Vanessa? Did the Army fire or suspend? Well, we'll get to that in a second, but what is his, I believe his name's Juan Cruz?
Juan Cruz. Even if you don't speak Spanish, when you see tonight's report, you will feel the palpable pain and the void that this family, the Guillen family, is left with. Her fiancé, Juan Cruz, his dreams of a marriage, of children with Vanessa, a future with Vanessa, those dreams are all gone now. And there's also a sense within the family that they'll never see real justice because although one woman, Cecily Aguilar is her name, she stands accused of helping dispose of Vanessa's body. Although she will stand trial soon, the fact is the killer, Specialist Aaron Robinson, who died by suicide. So very likely the Guillen family will never find out exactly what happened to their daughter and why it happened.
All right, thank you, John. We're running out of time here. I wanted to ask you about if Cruz thought enough was done, but I guess we can check that out tonight. Their special report airs tonight at 8 on 2020, 8 o'clock, right here on Channel 5. Thanks again, John.
Thank you.